It's a morning ritual for millions of us over 60. We wake up, we eat our breakfast, and we diligently take our calcium supplements. We drink our milk. We chase the sun for vitamin D. We do everything right to protect our bones. But what if I told you that for many of you, that extra calcium isn't going to your bones at all? In fact, what if I told you it might be ending up in your arteries, turning them into stone while your muscles and bones continue to waste away? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a medical phenomenon known as the calcium paradox. And if you are simply loading up on calcium without the missing key, I'm going to share today you might be increasing your risk of a heart attack while doing absolutely nothing to stop your frailty. Hello, and welcome back to Golden Years Nutrition. My name is Frank Taylor, and at 68 years young, I've spent a lot of time thinking about these very questions. Now, I want to be clear right off the bat. I am not a medical doctor or a geriatrician. My journey over the past decade has been a bit different. I've dedicated my retirement to being a sort of health detective for folks just like us. I spend my days digging into the latest clinical studies, the ones that are often too complex or too buried for the nightly news to cover. And I want to emphasize that all the research I mention will always be linked in the description below every video, so you can check it for yourself. My goal is simple: to take that complex scientific information and turn it into practical advice that we can actually use in our daily lives. And one of the most surprising truths I've found is this: you cannot fix your bones if you ignore your muscles. They are a single unit. In today's video, we are going to fix the broken link in your body. We are going to cover 3 critical things. First, I'll explain why the medical world is finally realizing that bone loss and muscle loss are actually the same disease. Second, we'll debunk the dangerous myth that more calcium equals stronger bones, and why the sunshine vitamin alone isn't enough to save you. And finally, I will reveal the missing nutrient, the biological traffic cop, that guides minerals exactly where they need to go to rebuild your frame safely. But before we dive into the science, I have a quick question for you. Do you take a calcium supplement daily, or maybe a combined calcium vitamin D pill? Type yes or no in the comments below right now. I'm genuinely curious to see how many of us have been following the standard advice. I read every comment. Okay. Are you ready to learn the truth about your bones? Let's get started. Why muscle loss breaks bones. So, let's start with the root of the problem. For decades, modern medicine has treated our bodies like a collection of separate spare parts. If you have weak bones, you go to an endocrinologist or an orthopedist. If you have weak muscles, you might go to a physical therapist or just be told to join a gym. But here is the reality your body knows, even if the doctors forget it. Your bones and your muscles are not strangers. They are neighbors, roommates, and best friends. They talk to each other constantly. There is a new term in the medical community that you need to know. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but stay with me. It's called osteosarcopenia. Osteo means bone. Sarco refers to your muscle, and penia means loss. It is the hazardous combination of having both low bone density and low muscle mass at the same time. Why does this matter? Because statistically, if you have this combination, your risk of falling and breaking a hip isn't just double. It can be 3 to 4 times higher than someone who just has weak bones alone. Osteo means bone. Sarco refers to your muscle, and penia means loss. It is the hazardous combination of having both low bone density and low muscle mass at the same time. Why does this matter? Because statistically, if you have this combination, your risk of falling and breaking a hip isn't just double. It can be 3 to 4 times higher than someone who just has weak bones alone. Why calcium supplements can hurt your heart. Now that we understand the connection, let's look at how we've been trying to fix it and why it's failing. For the last 40 years, the advice has been identical. Worried about fractures? Drink milk. Take 1,000 milligrams of calcium. Take your vitamin D. It sounds logical. Bones are made of calcium, so eat more calcium, right? Well, let's look at the data. Countries with the highest calcium intake and dairy consumption, like the United States, Sweden, and Finland, actually have the highest rates of hip fractures in the world. Conversely, in many Asian and African countries, where calcium intake is much lower, fracture rates are significantly lower. This is the calcium paradox. But it gets more concerning. A landmark study published in the British Medical Journal analyzed thousands of patients and found something alarming. People who took high-dose calcium supplements did not see a significant reduction in fractures, but they did see a spike in the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Why? Why would a bone mineral hurt your heart? Think of it this way. Imagine you order a truckload of bricks to build a new patio in your backyard. The truck driver arrives, but he doesn't have a GPS. He doesn't know where your house is. He drives around for a while, gets frustrated, and just dumps the pile of bricks in the middle of the street. Now you still don't have a patio, and worse, you've blocked traffic. This is what happens when you take calcium supplements without the right guidance system. The calcium enters your blood, but it doesn't know how to get into the bone matrix. It's a confused tourist, so it looks for a place to settle. And unfortunately, it settles in your soft tissues. It settles in your joints, causing stiffness. It settles in your kidneys, causing stones. And most dangerously, it settles in the walls of your arteries. This is called vascular calcification. It turns your flexible, rubbery blood vessels into stiff pipes. Your heart has to pump harder. Your blood pressure goes up, and your risk of cardiac events skyrockets. Now, you might be saying, but Frank, I take vitamin D. Isn't that the guide? That is the second part of the myth. We call vitamin D the sunshine vitamin, and it is absolutely essential. But here is the catch. Vitamin D acts as the gatekeeper, not the guide. Vitamin D stands at the door of your intestines and says to the calcium in your food, "Come on in, enter the bloodstream." It increases absorption efficiently, but once that calcium is in the blood, vitamin D's job is done. It effectively floods your system with calcium, but it leaves it there, wandering around without a map. So you have high calcium in your blood, hypercalcemia, calcified arteries, and yet your bones are still starving and your muscles are still weak. You are turning into stone on the inside while crumbling on the outside. But don't panic. There is a solution. There is a nutrient, a specific vitamin that acts as the GPS, the map, and the traffic cop all in one. It grabs that calcium by the hand and puts it exactly where it belongs. And almost no doctor talks about it. Let's move to the next section, where I reveal exactly what this nutrient is and how to get it. The missing link, vitamin K2. So, if calcium is the bricks and vitamin D is the gatekeeper, who is the architect? Who tells the bricks where to go? The answer is a nutrient that was a mystery for decades. Back in the 1930s, a famous dentist named Weston Price traveled the world studying traditional diets. He found a substance in the butter and organs of grass-fed animals that protected people from tooth decay and bone loss. He didn't know what it was, so he simply called it Activator X. Today we know Activator X by its chemical name, vitamin K2. Now please do not confuse this with vitamin K1. K1 is found in spinach and kale, and it's mainly responsible for blood clotting. It's important, but it doesn't do much for your bones. K2 is different. It is the key to the calcium paradox we just talked about. Let me tell you about the Rotterdam study. This was a massive 10-year study following nearly 5,000 people over the age of 55. It is one of the most significant pieces of nutritional research regarding heart and bone health. The researchers found that participants with the highest intake of vitamin K2 had a 52% lower risk of severe arterial calcification. Let me repeat that. 52%. They also had a 57% lower risk of dying from heart disease compared to those with the lowest intake. And, as you might guess, their bones were significantly stronger. The mechanism. Traffic cop. So how does K2 pull off this miracle? Think of vitamin K2 as the biological traffic cop of your body. When calcium enters your bloodstream, it activates a protein called matrix GLA protein, or MGP for short. But without K2, this protein is asleep on the jade. It's inactive. It can't do anything. When you ingest vitamin K2, it wakes up or activates the MGP. Once activated, MGP goes into your arteries and literally scrapes the calcium out of the soft tissues. It prevents the calcium from crystallizing into plaque. At the same time, K2 activates another protein called osteocalcin. This is the protein responsible for grabbing that calcium and cementing it into your bone matrix. Without K2, osteocalcin remains inactive, and your bones cannot hold on to the calcium, no matter how much milk you drink. So K2 is doing double duty. It cleans your arteries and rebuilds your bones simultaneously. The muscle connection. But remember, this channel is about golden years nutrition, and we never look at things in isolation. We are talking about osteosarcopenia, the loss of bone and muscle. Here is the exciting new science. Recent research suggests that vitamin K2 isn't just for bones. It plays a crucial role in mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the power plants inside your muscle cells. As we age, these power plants slow down, leading to muscle fatigue and weakness. Vitamin K2 acts as an electron carrier in the mitochondria, helping to generate ATP, that's pure energy. This means adequate K2 levels might help you maintain the muscle power needed to move around, lift groceries, and, critically, to put that healthy stress on your bones to keep them growing. It is the perfect cycle of strength. The food sources. Now you might be thinking, Frank, this sounds great. I'll just eat more salad. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. You cannot get K2 from salads. It is created by bacteria during fermentation. So where do we find it? Here are the top sources ranked by potency. Number 1 is natto. This is a traditional Japanese dish made of fermented soybeans. It is the K2 superfood. Just 1 tablespoon of natto can contain over 300 micrograms of K2-MK7. That is huge. However, I have to be honest with you. It has a very strong smell, like old socks, and a sticky, slimy texture. It is definitely an acquired taste. If you can't stomach natto, don't worry. Number 2 is goose liver or chicken liver. This was the Activator X Weston Price talked about. Number 3 is aged cheeses, specifically Gouda, Brie, and Edam. The bacteria used to age these cheeses produce K2. So yes, you have my permission to enjoy some high-quality cheese on your cracker. Number 4 is egg yolks. But not just any eggs. They need to be from pasture-raised chickens. Why? Because the chickens need to eat grass containing K1, and then their bodies convert it to K2. A factory-farmed chicken fed only corn will produce almost zero K2. Supplementation and the fat rule. Because modern diets are so low in organ meats and fermented foods, many of us, including myself, choose to supplement. If you decide to go this route, here is what you need to look for. First, look for vitamin K2 in the form of MK7. There is another form called MK4, which is good, but it leaves your body very quickly, so you have to take it multiple times a day. MK7 stays in your system longer, covering you for 24 hours. Second, never take vitamin D3 without K2. They are partners. Many high-quality supplements now combine them in one soft gel. A common dosage seen in studies is around 100 micrograms of K2 MK7 per day, but always check the label. Third, and this is critical, the fat rule. Vitamin K2 is fat-soluble. That means if you take it with just a glass of water on an empty stomach, you are flushing your money down the toilet. You must take it with a meal that contains some healthy fat, like avocado, olive oil, eggs, or yogurt. This ensures it actually gets absorbed into your system. The critical warning. Before we wrap up this section, I have to give you a very serious warning. Because vitamin K helps with clotting, it can interfere with blood-thinning medications like warfarin or Coumadin. If you are on any blood-thinning medication, do not start a vitamin K2 supplement without talking to your doctor first. It can be dangerous. Your doctor needs to adjust your dosage. Please be safe. Conclusion. We've covered a lot of ground today, so let's summarize the key takeaways to make sure we remember them. 1. It's not just aging. Weak bones and weak muscles often go hand in hand, a condition called osteosarcopenia. 2. The calcium trap. Taking calcium without a guide can lead to calcified arteries and heart risks rather than strong bones. 3. The solution. Vitamin K2 is the traffic cop that directs calcium into your bones and keeps your heart safe. It is the missing link in our modern diet. The challenge. Knowledge is useless without action, so here is my challenge for you this week. I call it the Fermented Friend Challenge. I want you to try adding just one source of K2 to your diet this week. Maybe buy a block of Gouda cheese instead of your usual cheddar. Maybe find a local farm that sells pasture-raised eggs. Or, if you are feeling brave, go to an Asian market and try natto just once. Even if you hate it, at least you'll have a funny story to tell. Or simply check your current vitamin D supplement bottle, turn it around and read the label. Does it include K2? If not, it might be time for an upgrade. You know, for a long time we were told that getting frail was just part of the deal, that as we hit 60, 70, or 80, we are supposed to become fragile. I don't accept that. And I don't think you should either. Your body is an incredible machine. Even now, it is waiting for the right materials to repair itself. You can build a frame that carries you through life with strength and dignity. You just need to give it the right tools. If you found this video helpful, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. It tells YouTube that this information matters to people like us. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you never miss a video. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Are you brave enough to try natto? Or are you sticking with the cheese? Let me know below. In our next video, we're going to talk about a forgotten mineral that powers your heart, something even more common than calcium but often ignored. You won't want to miss it. I'm Frank Taylor. Stay strong, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.